Tom Aspinall has finally broken his silence after weeks of relentless noise in the heavyweight division, with critics shouting, fans debating, and journalists stirring the pot, all while Jon Jones ran his mouth louder than ever, targeting a man who had never insulted him, a man who had shown nothing but respect, and a man who spent over a year waiting for a fight that Jones abandoned without hesitation. But now, after Aspinall was forced out of the cage due to a dangerous, debilitating eye injury that doctors described as potentially career-ending, Jones suddenly finds the courage to call him weak, to mock him, and to question his heart, a striking hypocrisy that the MMA world has watched unfold like a firestorm, waiting for the moment Aspinall would finally snap. Yet this conflict didn't start with the eye poke, the agonizing contact from Cyril Gane, or even at UFC 304 when Aspinall stood before the crowd with blurred vision and a pounding skull, unsure if his career had just vanished. It began the moment Jones realized Aspinall existed, a new heavyweight entering the division with freakish speed, terrifying power, and a calm, confident demeanor that rattled Jones from the start. Aspinall's rise, knocking out everyone in his path, arrived faster than Jones could accept, and instead of confronting it like a champion, Jones disappeared, dodging interviews, avoiding questions, declining fights, and offering every excuse imaginable. Meanwhile, Aspinall stayed active, loyal, and prepared, carrying the division in Jones' absence, yet he became the target of Jones' narrative manipulation, insult campaigns, and public mockery. Aspinall endured every comment questioning his courage, every laugh at his injury, every accusation that he had given up, despite being the same fighter who consistently took short notice bouts, stepped in as a backup, sought challenges others avoided, and never backed down in his career. But the moment Aspinall posted his medical update, revealing the true gravity of his condition, that one eye no longer tracks with the other, that he experiences neurological symptoms, unstable vision, and the risk of permanent impairment, the narrative shifted dramatically. The people calling him a quitter were forced to confront the reality of his sacrifice and resilience. The facades surrounding his toughness crumbled, and, realizing the polite contender was
waiting around for Jon Jones for a whole year, over a year, career on hold, despite the fact that he told everyone, look, this guy ain't going to fight me. He's going to retire before he'll fight me. So you might as well just give me the title now. But unfortunately, the UFC, they wanted to believe that their GOAT was the man that they bigged him up to be, and they were wrong. And after working his whole life to become UFC heavyweight champion, this was the way it was announced.
Jon Jones called us last night and retired. Jon Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
All right, Dana, calm down. Don't get too excited. And that was in the middle of the night in some random-ass UFC press conference. No ceremony, no celebration, no congratulations, Tom. We've got the best young fighter in the world. It was as if no one gave a fuck from the UFC. It was so bad. And I get Dana was pissed because he'd been made to look a fool by Jon Jones. But that was never Tom Aspinall's fault. Tom just wanted to fight the best guy he possibly could. And you'd think MMA fans would love that. There's a fighter who's trying to fight the best, wants to win the title, wants to defend the title and be an active heavyweight champion, something we've not had in God knows how long in the UFC. But no, because Jon Jones weirdly has a lot of fans who want to see him protected and not get his chin smashed to bits, they supported the guy who ran away from the fight and trashed Tom consistently. What a weird fan base.
Allowing himself to be missed very much, because the moment he left, he came right back. And by the way, I have no problem with all of this. We never had a problem with any of this. It was the fact that he was holding up the division, holding up the belt. Everyone said, please stick around. Stick around as long as you want. Just give up the title so other people can realize their dreams. Fun fights, one-off fights, legacy fights, super fights, all day. You're bigger than the title. Jon Jones is bigger than the UFC heavyweight title. He's bigger than any title. There's only a couple of guys who are bigger than the title. Jon being one. If Tom would have beaten Jon, the fact that he beat Jon would be bigger than him becoming UFC heavyweight champion.
Situation looked like Curtis Blades came to beat Tom Aspinall up that night. Tom throws a kick and magically gets hurt. I would expect a fighter to at least attempt to stand back up or at least limp. And with Tom, he was just completely just out of the fight. And his last situation with Cyril Gane, he gets poked in the eye. Normally you see fighters that are doing this number, trying to get the doctor to look at it. And actually, initially the doctor's just like, he seems fine. Tom's like, no, I can't. I can't see. I can't. The guy wasn't trying to see. Yeah. The guy didn't want to see. The eye that he was covering appeared to be the eye that actually didn't get penetrated. One eye finger goes all the way underneath the eyelid. The other eye, it was on top of the eyelid. And he ends up grabbing the eye where the finger was on top of the eyelid. So I don't even think Tom really knew which eye was supposed to be more compromised. He just knew that he had been fouled and it was his way out. So that alone shows me a little bit what's behind the facade of this whole Tom Aspinall character.
Suddenly, Jon Jones looked like a man mocking a fighter who was literally fighting to save his career. And when Tom Aspinall realized people were still calling him weak even after the truth of his dangerous, career-threatening eye injury was out, something inside him snapped. The mask dropped, and Aspinall finally fired back. Not with cheap insults or childish jabs, but with raw fury, unflinching honesty, and a voice carrying the weight of a man who had held everything in for far too long. He declared he was sick of people questioning his heart, of those who had never stepped into the cage dictating what he should have done while half-blind, and of fighters who weren't present pretending they would have fought through neurological impairment. He called out Jon Jones for pretending to be the king of the division while avoiding the one man who could expose him, and for waiting until Aspinall was hurt to get loud. For the first time, Aspinall didn't hold back, saying aloud everything the fans had suspected. Jones vanished for a full year while Aspinall carried the division, only speaking when he knew he wouldn't have to back it up, mocking injuries he himself has suffered, and attacking a fighter who had taken every risk, fought everyone, and stayed active. Aspinall's words detonated across social media because they were irrefutable. If Jones truly thought Aspinall was weak, he would have taken the fight when he had the chance. He exposed the hypocrisy of Jones laughing at a man sidelined by a genuine medical condition while Jones had avoided meaningful competition, leaving Aspinall to defend the division alone. Aspinall even addressed Dana White, criticizing the casual dismissal of his injury and highlighting the imbalance of power that allowed Jones to avoid accountability while Aspinall risked everything to keep events alive. In doing so, Aspinall transformed from the polite, respectful contender into the unapologetic voice of the heavyweight division, a fighter refusing to excuse cowardice or silence, a man pushed to the edge and now coming back swinging with a fire the division has never seen. The polite, humble version of Aspinall was gone. The fighter returning would carry a different energy, mindset, and purpose, ready to face anyone who doubted him. And the first name on that list was Jon Jones. The MMA world now understood that Aspinall wasn't broken. He was awakened, and his silence had only been mistaken for softness. The moment his new energy hit, Jones went from laughing to scrambling, realizing the polite contender was gone and that Aspinall's return would be defined not by respect he seeks, but by the reckoning he was ready to deliver.